The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Several tech experts and cybersecurity advocates are warning the public against visiting and or signing up on this website claiming to be Friendster 2.0. We have with us DICT Secretary Ivan Oy to discuss this issue some more. Good afternoon, Secretary Ivan, and thank you for joining us. Do you have any information if this site, friendster.click, is really a new version of the early 2000s social media platform Friendster?
Good afternoon. Yes, we've been receiving a lot of reports on this, and so far, what our cybersecurity community has gathered is that this is not the same Friendster that was launched way back in 2002. The company that developed Friendster is not behind this, and most of those who have attempted to click on this invitation felt that it was more of a data capturing application. So their suspicion is this is a phishing site.
All right, and there is suspicion that it is a phishing site by those who have clicked the link. But do you guys have any, more corroborating evidence that it is in fact a phishing site or a data capturing or gathering site?
We are still in the process of investigating. Our team are on board, and we are doing several investigation and validation to identify where this site is actually coming from, and perhaps identify also if we could properly identify who or what entity is behind this. But just a word of caution to the public is that do not provide any personal information, especially on a lot of shared sites that are asking for your personal information. There are a lot of scams, a lot of schemes that are out there that would dupe you into revealing your personal information.
All right, thank you for addressing that matter, Secretary Ivan. I have to ask you this. We're going to jump to a completely other matter altogether. A House lawmaker earlier flagged the transfer of funds between the DICT and MMDA. Is this something you are familiar with or that you are currently looking into? And are you at liberty to discuss the details of this transaction with us?
That happened during the past administration. And so when we came on board, that was one of the things that was reported to us. And we had several meetings with different agencies, and we're still trying to get the complete picture because I think it's all over different agencies. And during our budget hearing with the lawmaker, we actually had some discussions on how to proceed with some of these projects, or whether these projects have to be terminated and the funds to be returned. We still have to do a lot of legal work on this.
All right, and if you, after all that, let's say after investigation and some vetting, will you then share your findings with the public?
That depends now on the rules that we're working with. I think if this is something that has public interest, I think the public should know about it. But if it dwells into anything that would maybe relate to security or to privacy of the information, then we'll adjust accordingly. But so far, I am not seeing significant issues on data privacy, but we need to really dig into this issue further and find out, because the downloading is different with each agency that they did so we need to study each one of them and see how it's done. whether the funds were actually sourced from the correct budgetary allocations, and whether this was done in accordance to law or there were any violations of the law. And if there were, then the people who are responsible will have to answer for any violations.
All right, looking forward to the timely resolution on both those matters. Thank you for your time today. DICT Secretary Ivan Oy over the line. Thank you, sir. And in other news, Meralco is now reviewing the temporary restraining order that was issued by the Court of Appeals against its power supply deal with the subsidiary of San Miguel Corporation. Shaila Francisco with the details.
The Court of Appeals has issued a temporary restraining order on the power supply agreement between San Miguel Corporation, South Premier Power Corporation, and Meralco. South Premier generates power while Meralco distributes it. This means that South Premier won't be supplying electricity to Meralco for now. Recall that the Energy Regulatory Commission earlier rejected SMC's petition for a rate hike of 30 cents per kilowatt hour. SMC said it has been losing billions of pesos because of higher global oil prices. The CA, on the other hand, favored South Premier. The appellate court agreed that implementing a power rate hike is the cheaper option rather than having the contract terminated altogether. The TRO on the power supply deal will be in effect for 60 days. But the Power for People coalition said this is not enough to prevent a possible price hike.
Way beyond that, ang papasanin ng electric consumers, yung bond na yan, mumu yan. Kung magkakaroon ng mga bagong kontrata, ang kalalabasan talaga niyan ay mahal na klase ng kuryente ang isusupply.
The ERC is also worried, noting that the fixed price under the PSA has shielded consumers from volatile prices. As for the parties involved, Meralco said it is now reviewing the TRO to determine its next steps. It may need to source electricity from other sources in the meantime. For its part, SMC Global Power maintained that the ERC had been informed about their plea for a price hike, but they said the ERC chose to look the other way. They also assured the ERC that the public would still get the lowest possible rates despite the price hike. The company added that raising the issue to the CA is part of their right to due process. The Energy Department said the Office of the Solicitor General is in contact with the ERC to discuss the matter. Over the weekend, President Bongbong Marcos warned that the PSA suspension could mean higher rates. The president hopes that the CA would reconsider its decision. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
We're gonna pause for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us here on One News. You're back on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Investors are seeing a gloomy 2023 as slowing growth and rising inflation keep the risk of stagflation high. More details in this Bloomberg report.
The world is headed for stagflation next year. That's according to the latest Bloomberg survey of professional and retail investors. What's stagflation anyway? It's a scenario when inflation remains above average even as growth slows. That would be a nightmare for the Federal Reserve and other central banks that have spent most of this year deploying jumbo rate hikes to rein in inflation. In a stagflation scenario, that would mean that those rate hikes will have been ineffective in curbing prices even as economic demand slows. About a third of investors are even more downbeat and expect a deflationary recession, which means that both economic output and prices fall. Meanwhile, they see plenty of risks in the housing markets. Most investors expect a 20% plunge in house prices in a major economy globally, with Canada and the UK seen as the most vulnerable to this risk. Overall, one thing's for sure, 2023 is a year for the pessimists.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Commission on Appointments has approved the ad interim appointment of Susan Ople as Migrant Workers Secretary. Meanwhile, the CA had to suspend the confirmation hearing of Energy Secretary Rafael Lotilla due to time constraints. President Bongbong Marcos is set to sign an executive order on the creation of a green lane for strategic investments. This EO will mandate concerned offices to expedite the processing and issuance of permits for businesses. And the World Health Organization has renamed monkeypox into Mpox. The WHO says it wants to avoid associating diseases with a specific country, animal, or ethnic group. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.